Our government executives are challenged with this really simple fact that their data, their unseen data, is locked into many of the silos that exist across all of the federal government. It could be in HR, in finance, project or program management. And so those things become really important because agencies have now figured out that data is a strategic asset, but they're trying to get to the data-driven enterprise, right? And the way that we do that is helping customers, integrate that data, even to include the unseen data, to aggregate it, to make it useful, to gain great visibility into your people, process, and productivity. Tableau has been in the industry trying to help customers see and understand their data better. And we've been doing that with our Analytics 360 view. That view has been allowing our customers to integrate and then aggregate that data.
Analytics 360 is an approach to data that emphasizes integration not only within a domain, but also across domains. In my job as a solution engineer, I help my customers imagine the possible. With this concept dashboard, really focusing on Analytics 360, I'm hoping to illustrate to my customers how they can deliver analytics not only to the knowledge workers, but to the highest levels of leadership within an agency. A leader can interact with that dashboard. They can go from one question, then to another question, just really sort of following a certain train of thought as they're looking at the data. Perhaps a question arises that they want to take a look at. And again, they can work with that data and then be able to glean some sort of actionable insight for their team to take action on. The key thing to know about Analytics 360 is that it's built on the Tableau data platform with a particular emphasis on the back end. So Tableau, innovative as ever, introduced a new product to the market about 2 years ago called Tableau Prep, which focuses on data preparation and data integration. So leveraging this data backend, I can look at a dashboard like this. This is just a demo of Analytics 360, really what I would call a concept dashboard. As you can see here, I have a lot of domain areas that I have put into my demonstration. But again, this can vary according to what is important at your particular agency. So I have some information about year-to-date budget spend. That's usually a priority in a lot of agencies, is to know how much money they spent against budget. Some information about attrition rate, etc. And then really in recognition of the extraordinary times we're living in today, over here on the right-hand side, I have some contract tracing information. So I can imagine that, especially at executive leadership levels, those leaders want to know how we can safely return to work. And COVID data, for example, is going to be very critical in this kind of application. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm selecting one area to sort of dive down into, and this is going to be HCM. All agencies have to hire people. So I figured it's something that would make sense to everybody. And so I went from that summary dashboard where I was looking across many different domain areas, and now I'm drilling down into one particular area, in this case, human capital management. Across the top, you see that I have KPIs, again, just more specific to HCM, not across the entire area of domain I'm looking at, but just HCM. And these KPIs are really focused on the priorities of this fictitious agency for this fiscal year. So I'm looking at, work-life balance, attrition rate, things like that. And as I look down here at the bottom, the dashboards that are represented here are really focused on these areas. So I'm looking a lot at gender by role, employee distribution, and attrition and overtime. Just sort of also want to point out, when we talk about the data integration, it's not just taking data and being able to see some finance data and being able to see some HCM data, but really kind of integrating this data. And I've done this here with this COVID positive rates map, where I can see the sort of my employees across the entire country, and where I'm seeing some positive COVID test rates within my employee base. So for example, I might hover over Florida and I could see that my positive test rate is currently showing at 2% there. If I look here at the bottom, attrition per month. So one question that can often plague those of us who may work in human capital is really trying to keep our workers. We train them up. They're very valuable to the agency, and trying to understand like what sort of patterns might there be around attrition. So in this example, I'm looking at seasonality. You can see that in the month of December, it's literally a hotspot. It's very red, meaning that we see a lot of attrition happening in December. I can certainly speculate as to why that might be the case. New year, new job, people are turning over new leaf. There could be a lot of that kind of thinking happening. And it's not a surprise to see this pattern within HR. So what could I do in response to this? This is what I would call an actionable insight. Knowing that we see a large number of people leaving in December, I could work with my HCM team and my recruiting team to specifically and very, in a targeted way, beef up our candidate pipeline for the months preceding December. So I could be working during the summer and into the fall to really make sure that our recruiting pipeline is very strong and we have a lot of candidates who are working through the process. At Tableau, we talk a lot about data culture, what it takes for any organization, public sector, private business, nonprofit, et cetera, to embrace and really trust in data that can help make informed decisions for better outcomes. Analytics 360, with its emphasis really at leadership levels, really helps to set the foundation for a data culture. In so many things, leadership from the top is what helps drives results.